Prior to joining Google, Tim was a digital advertising consultant for American Express. Join me in welcoming Tim Buckley to talk about engaging audiences while increasing content monetization.
After-party details here?
Oh, well, you know.
It's the most important part.
Yeah, the after party is at Susquehanna Brewing Company, 635 South Main Street. Oh, right, we need that, yeah. There will be a cash bar, light refreshments, lots of video. We're going to be filming a web series there. You can all be a part of it. Now, Timbo.
All right. I know I have the obligatory last spot of the day here, so I'll keep this entertaining, and we'll get you to that after party and get to the drinks. But it's a privilege to speak with you all today, and I'm happy to be here. Being at Google, we work with millions of publishers, so we get a lot of insight into what works, what doesn't. And what I thought I'd do is share some of that today and see if we can make this an engaging session. But I'm going to break it down into kind of three main parts. So we're going to think about building for today. So what does today's user look like? How are they accessing your platforms? How are they accessing your blogs? How do you really engage with your users? Then the next part there, exactly what it says, engaging your users. So how are you engaging with them? What type of content are you creating? Amanda talked a little bit about this just prior, but really, how are you thinking about your users and the content that you're putting out to them? And then the final thing, which is by far my most favorite topic, is unlocking revenue. So hopefully you guys are all leveraging monetization platforms today, making some money off of your blogs, but we'll get into that in more detail as we move through this. So first and foremost, it's about building for today's user. At Google, we've seen a massive shift from desktop to mobile. So this is not just something that's temporary, it's something that's obviously here to stay. You've probably heard a lot about that today, but the user is moving to a mobile-first environment. Today's user is using apps, they're using messaging services, they're using things that are instantaneous and they're getting immediate feedback. It's really, really important that your website or your blog performs the exact same way as these experiences. Okay? Many of the new users that are coming online today, especially globally, are accessing the internet for the first time via mobile device and may never ever use a desktop computer. So think about that. Think about that mobile experience first and foremost. So here's some kind of mobile-first strategy tips for you. It's got to be fast. First and foremost, that's the most important thing to know here is it's got to be a fast experience. Users want that fast. They want to be able to access your content as quickly as possible, so make it quick. It's also got to be really easy to use. Gone are the days where we'd have to kind of grow the screen and hopefully we're clicking the little blue link in the corner, right? It's got to be really easy to use. Big buttons, really easy for the user to navigate, and it has to be consistent. You have to have the same platform, whether that's on desktop, tablet, mobile, connected TV. It has to be consistent across the board. So you can see here, 88% of users are less likely to return to a site if they have a bad user experience. But I think more important to this is 74% of users are more likely to return to a site with a mobile-friendly experience. So again, it's that mobile-first mentality and really having a good experience with your users in that respect. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do now is pull out your cell phone. And I want you to type in, whether it's your blog, whether it's a site that you normally frequent, go ahead and enter the URL, but don't hit load until I say so. So go ahead and type in that blog, that URL. Okay, everyone got it? So I'm going to count off to 7, and when I say go, I want you to hit go, and we're going to load those pages. So go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, hopefully every one of those pages has loaded. I won't make you put up your hands if it hasn't loaded yet, that's quite all right. But 40% of users will abandon your site if it hasn't loaded within 3 seconds. 74% of your users are going to abandon your site if it hasn't loaded within 5 seconds. So again, really, really pushing here the envelope, but it's got to be fast. It has to be quick. The users will leave you if the site is not loading quick enough. A recent study we did with GQ magazine, which is a men's lifestyle magazine, their mobile load time was 7 seconds. Okay, you can imagine the traffic that was abandoning them because of that. They've gotten it down to 2. So they've done a lot on the back end to eliminate a lot of the render issues that they had and got it down to 2 seconds. From that change, traffic at GQ magazine went up 83%. So again, just really highlighting that traffic will spike if it's a really quick loading experience. So I'd be asking yourself, well, what can we do? Like, how do we know what our experience is? How can we change it? How can we make it quicker? So obviously, it wouldn't be Google if we didn't promote some of our own stuff. So Google Development has PageSpeed Insights. You can simply Google PageSpeed Insights. This will load for you. Drop in a URL, hit load. And what we'll do here is we're going to provide you with different diagnostics. How quick is it working, both on desktop and mobile? What are the scores? So you can see here we've got a score of 65 in mobile. Then what we'll also do is we'll run a bunch of diagnostic tests to show you exactly what you can do to make it a quicker experience. Whether that's reducing the image size that you guys have for particular images, whether it's eliminating render blocking JavaScript. There's a number of different things that we'll make to use in order to make your experience a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. What you really want to do here is you want to be 80 or above. So 80 or above will get you into the green, and that'll give a good experience for both you and your users. So again, that's PageSpeed Insights, and you can access that just by Googling PageSpeed Insights. Another way that Google is really thinking about mobile is accelerated mobile pages. So this is something you guys may or may not be familiar with. If you search for an article, so now in the political season, if you search for political articles, oftentimes right below the search bar you'll see a catalog, if you will, or cards of different articles. Those are called AMP, or Accelerated Mobile Pages, and they load instantaneously. So this is a way, it's an open HTML format that you can actually build a website or a platform for this mobile experience. And there's self-help guides on how to create this experience. Again, it's called AMP. You can Google AMP or Accelerated Mobile Pages, and it'll tell you exactly how to build one of these pages. They load instantaneously, and they're always there for the user to access. Everyone has access to it. All they have to do is search, and we're growing the amount of these significantly. So we started with just a few major publishers, and now it's kind of across the board. We're trying to get as many folks into AMP as possible for that lightning fast mobile experience. Now, aside from speed, so let's say we've got speed under control, what else can we do? I mentioned it earlier, but 61% of users will leave a site if they don't find what they're looking for right away. So it's got to be quick, it's got to be easy to find, it's got to be easy to use. So again, it's that really clean layout, it's that clean looking feel, it's touch friendly, we don't have to blow up the screen. Also font size. Is the font size kind of standard? Is it reasonable? Is it a good enough size? Is it not too small? Little side note here, custom font sizes increase your page load speed. So keep it as simple as you possibly can. A lot of times we think, we'll get fancy with it, we'll try to add a couple things, make it look a little nicer. By doing so, you're actually ruining the experience for your users, you're increasing your page load speed, therefore you're losing a lot of traffic because of it. Okay, and then finally here we have be consistent across screens. So it's got to be the same experience, whether it's tablet, mobile, desktop. You want a responsive design. You can have advertisements that are responsive in nature as well. They'll automatically load based on the screen size. That's how you want your site to be as well. It has to look the same across any device that a user is accessing it. Users today are coming in from different devices in the morning to different devices at night, so it has to be consistent. So if you want to see whether or not your site is mobily friendly, we have another diagnostic tool called the Mobile Friendly Test. You can simply search for this as well on Google, Mobile Friendly Test. And what it'll do is we'll do a quick scan of your site, and we'll provide recommendations for how this site could be made more mobilely friendly. You'll either get a nice green header up top, or you'll get that red one that nobody wants with a bunch of X's. That'll tell you that there's some improvements that we need to make in order to make this mobilely friendly. Okay, so let's say we've got everything under control. We've got a really fast loading page, it looks great, it's mobile friendly, and it's the same across all platforms. Now how do we engage with our users? So we talked about this a little bit in the previous session, but it's got to be unique content. Unique content is paramount. If it's not about scraping something off another page, it's got to be something that's unique. It's okay to be niche in this space as well. So you want to think about, what can I do differently? How can I make the content as enriching as possible for the users? Video and visual is huge here. So obviously we have YouTube as a part of the Google company, and we see over billions of page views a day. 40 minutes per day on mobile is spent watching videos. And that traffic continues to jump about 50% year over year. So videos are kind of the way of the future, and it used to be thought at that you had to have expensive production, it needs to be a lot to put on a video. That's not the case anymore. Think about Snapchat, these 15-second videos that are user-generated, incredibly entertaining. Anybody can do those. You just have to have a cell phone. Just think outside the box a little bit. Think about the types of content that you can create by using your cell phone to have that experience for your users. So there's a couple different ways that we can think about content. What do we share, and how do we share it? Right? So we share what we care about. So think about that emotional aspect. So we want to think about this adorable little gorilla here that's hugging a leopard. I think that's from an Android commercial, if I'm not mistaken. But this is what we'll care about. This, we care about it. We think it's adorable, so we'll go ahead and we'll post that. Social proof. We share what makes us fit into a group or what gives other people envy. Maybe we share that post about a Maserati or something like that that makes us look cool or makes us feel like we're part of a group. So that might be something that we share. Practical value. Think about that video that you saw about how to tie a bow tie or a necktie, or one that I actually saw, I think last week, was how to tie the dreaded fitted sheet on your bed. I've never known how to do that. I always just thought it was crumple it in a ball, throw it in the closet, and that could work. There's really quite a nice method for doing that. That was something that was accessed and watched millions of times, and it's just something that will be constantly accessed and utilized from new generations that are coming out and learning how to do their laundry. So it's something that's always going to be there, so something of practical value. And then stories, we touched on this, of course, but stories, we all love stories, who doesn't? So it's got to be something that the user can really engage with. People don't like to share information, but they do like to tell stories. So think about that as you're starting to create your content and think about your content. But you might be saying to yourself, it's great, but I don't always know what to post, right? It doesn't always fall neatly within those buckets. Well, think about this for ideas for new content. So we've got 3 major topics. Evergreen, this is that necktie example. This is that fitted sheet. Evergreen is not going away. It's always going to change. It's always going to be there. Whether you're cooking, throwing a party for Halloween or cooking a dinner for Thanksgiving, you're going to need this information year over year. It may be seasonal in nature, but there's always going to be a need for this evergreen content. So certainly think about that as you're building out content and creating content. Trending. This could be something like politics, or it could be baseball playoffs, whatever it is that you like or you're interested in. If it's a trending topic, it's of interest to people. So think about that as another topic generator. And then in-depth, whether it's a story that you read somewhere else, maybe take it to that next level. Dive a little bit deeper into it, get a deeper understanding of it. Just think about it in more of an in-depth nature, and that's another way of kind of creating content off the bat. And these are all kind of for when you're stuck with ideas and trying to think of what you can create. So social media and your site. I'm not going to pitch Google Plus here. It was kind of a dud, I'm not going to lie. But how many of you have social media sites for your business or your blog? Not on the personal side, but for your business. Okay, so most of you, great. I know when I started my own business a while back, I had zero strategy. I just kind of went into it, I created pages, and I was like, it's going to happen, it'll come, the pictures will come to me, and the ideas will come. They don't, right? And so we kind of just go on these platforms, we create them, and they don't actually go anywhere unless we have a strategy and how to use them. So what we need to do here, we asked our social media team and our marketing team what they do when they're posting for Google. And some of the recommendations they made to us were it has to be posted on a regular schedule. Whether that's the same day of the week, same time of day, whatever that is, think about a schedule. Users will start to become used to new posts happening at a very specific time, and they'll know to look back at your site or your blog at that particular time. So think about it in a very structured time that you would view your posts. You have to create catchy snippets. Snippets is a word that we love at Google. I'm not sure how familiar that is outside of the company, but snippets are something that we absolutely love, and being really catchy with them. You need to grab attention. You want to be able to have the user being hooked from the first kind of 3 words. And then most importantly is have a clear call to action. Why are you posting? Are you trying to get email addresses? Are you trying to get them to register for your blog? Is it a simple brand awareness message? Is it just some content that you're trying to deliver? It needs to be really clear to the user why we're posting this content and what we want them to do getting out of it. So have that clear call to action and have that purpose as you're thinking about your content and your post and why you're making that post. So finally, to my favorite part of the conversation is unlocking revenue. How many of you today are using monetization platforms for your blog or website? Not many. Disappointing. Okay. So it used to be that advertising was incredibly complex, right? You had to have relationships with advertisers. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the LumaScape. If not, you can certainly Google that afterwards. The LumaScape has about 1,000 companies in it, and it starts from advertiser to publisher and all the intermediaries that are happening in between. So it used to be a very complex process. That's not really the case anymore. It's very easy to set up an AdSense account, for example. We have AdSense, DoubleClick, and an AdMob showcase on this slide. But it's very easy to create an account, add 2 lines of code onto your page, select where you want that inventory to display, and then advertisements will start running immediately thereafter. It takes about 2 minutes to get loaded, and then you'll have ads running immediately thereafter. So it's something to consider, but a lot of folks don't want traditional advertising. They think it cheapens the experience and don't necessarily want to put it on their site. Totally fine, there's other ways to do this. So just to kind of talk about some other solutions that we've thought about at Google is @Contributor by Google. Full disclosure, not really sure how popular this is, but that's not actually the point of the product. So Contributor is designed around letting the user pay, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month. They pay to not see ads in their experience. So again, you're asking yourself, well, why would somebody pay to not see ads? Well, it gives them a choice. That's really all we want. That's why ad blockers have become so incredibly prevalent today, is because users felt like they didn't have a choice. So this just empowers the user to make that choice. If they don't want to see ads, they're able to do so. But I think most importantly with this particular product, we need to educate the users that content isn't free. So the content that you produce costs money to do, right? It costs your time, it costs your energy, it costs money. So we need users to know that there's a reason that there's advertisements on the page. Somebody has to pay for the content on the internet, otherwise it's not the free internet anymore. So with something like Contributor, the user is aware, I have to pay for this content if I want to use it. Another thing that we've leveraged at Google is called Google Consumer Surveys. So what this is a simple survey that loads on the page. You might have seen this, or you might have gotten one in your experience. This is a way, again, of making money for your blog. So if you're against ads or you want a different experience, you can have a survey load. Once the user completes the survey, they're then able to then read the rest of the content, and you get paid for whichever surveys were created. So just the whole thing here is just giving the users choice and really differentiating the way that you're monetizing your particular property. Finally, there's match content. So match content not only drives traffic across your site, so it will load articles that are relevant or of interest to that particular user, but it also sprinkles advertisements through the process. So you might have seen these on many different websites today. There's all kinds of usually native, which we call native, not really native anymore, right? But those ads will load on the side of the page, and this basically not only has ads, but will also drive to other pages. So it's a traffic generator as well. So the key things here, right, with all of these different monetization platforms is it's just a different look and feel. It's just a way of thinking about this as a holistic option and a way to give the user choices for how they engage with your content and how you make money off of it. So in wrapping up here, what's your strategy? It's all about thinking mobile first. If there's one thing that you leave today with, it's make that website load fast on a mobile experience. Make sure that it's quick. Make your content unique. It's not scraped from somewhere else. Your site should be the only place that they can access this particular content. And that content, again, we discussed could be whether that's evergreen or something that's trending. Really try to think about that. Leverage social to drive more traffic. So social media is here to stay, and it's a great platform, so really do leverage it, but have a strategy behind it. Don't go into it kind of willy-nilly. Have an approach, have that strategy, and think about why you're posting, what you're posting, and when you're posting. And then finally, not many hands in the room went up when we talked about unlocking revenue. That's why a lot of us are in this business, is to make money. So don't be afraid to use monetization platforms, whatever they may be, whether they're with Google or a competitor. That's not the issue. It's really about, it's okay to try to make some money off the content that you're creating. Users expect it. They're used to seeing ads. We call it ad blindness. We're just so used to seeing ads, so it's not a bad thing in order to leverage and help pay yourself for some of the time that you're spending here. So I'm going to leave you with one of our adorable little users here on your site on his device of choice here. So thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.